We've got a little bit of a different video today for you than normal. We've seen a lot of posts online on all the pages and everything about that 19 Yamaha, the YXZ, the SS, the standard shift one, and how like the new gearing does. A full manual or the paddles, how about that?
I like that.
So we've seen a lot comparing those and a lot about the 19 and like how it does versus an older one with like 70-30 gear reduction. And so we just wanted to make a video kind of talking about our opinion on that and what we've gained by, you know, riding with a guy that we met down in Tennessee, and he's got a 19. And we just wanted to go through, you know, the clips that we've got of it and show as much as we can on how it does.
Okay, so we met this guy, guys down in Tennessee at our Brimstone trip. And we talked to him online or whatever, and we met up with him. Well, one of them had a 19, and we were really pumped about that because, I mean, we want to compare and see, you know, because we're running 70-30 with our older machine. All our machines are manual, you know, so we kind of wanted to see what a sport shift would do as well. And just the 19s are cool, so. Anyways, his it was basically 100% stock, tires, I mean, all that cage stock. All it had was a heavy flywheel and a gutted muffler. No tune, no nothing. And this was at our first Brimstone video trip. So I mean, during that trip,
he followed us everywhere,
yeah, I mean,
you know.
Yeah, I think it was our day 2.
Yeah, our second day there.
Yeah.
I'll put the link to the video, the full video of our trip there.
Of day 2, yeah.
Yeah, of day 2. But the clips after this that you'll see are from that trip. So all the following clips will be with a stock exhaust that's gutted, for anyone who's wondering. I mean, it sounded really good.
Yeah,
like,
it does sound really good.
Yeah, it was super surprising. I really liked the way it sounded for what it was, and especially for the money. I mean, just some time in gutting it, you know, and it wasn't tuned, which I thought was crazy. I don't know if that's good or bad or, you know, anything like that, or if it matters at all, but definitely, you know, cool way to get it to sound pretty good. This guy's got a brand new 19, which we haven't seen in person either.
It's a brand new 19 in case viewers want to know.
Yeah, this is a cool little, it's actually a detour on this tree that we don't fit under. I guess we didn't mention that. Oh, dude.
One shot at
The brand new 19.
so now in the next clips, he was running a Graves slip-on exhaust with their slip-on tune. Otherwise, like I said before, the machine's 100% stock axles, stock cage, stock everything, but now tune exhaust and heavy flywheel still as well. And that was our last trip at Smorr. Had all that.
Yeah, he was there the whole trip, and like we said, you know, he followed us pretty much everywhere we went. There was a few spots that he didn't go up the same obstacle as us. He either, you know, maybe went around on a different line or went around the trail or whatever, but it wasn't because of the machine. He just chose not to follow our stupidity.
Yeah, which we don't blame anybody.
Yeah, no, there's no shame in that. You know, we're pretty hard on our stuff, and obviously you guys see that, but.
Brand new 19. Oh. Yeah, he is. Yeah, very good. Oh my God. That was sick. 2019. Ooh, good save. Go ahead and back. Now he got himself in a pickle. Oh, we got our first flop. How's it hanging?
Oh yeah. God. Holy hell. Get it, boy, get it.
Oh,
holy shit.
and bone stock.
I've never seen someone
Bone stock with a heavy flywheel.
Yep.
Extremely impressive for this kind of terrain.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Woo!
Bunny hop back in. He bunny.
There you go. Oh yeah, dude. Nice. But yeah, so he did do a lot of hard obstacles and a lot of slow-paced trails with, you know, no issues. And all we can really compare, I know it's not like an ideal review because we weren't driving it, so we don't really know. Actually, I've never even driven a sport shift model, but under the impression that it has a clutch light, and when it's not fully engaged, you know, that light's coming on. So we can't really say, you know, on this really technical terrain, how much that clutch light was coming on, but he said it's not bad. And he's got, what, 700 to 800 miles?
Yeah, I believe so.
And he's from Tennessee, so he's riding that kind of terrain, and he's still in the stock clutch. So, I mean,
we're surprised that it even made it through one trip with us, to be honest, because, I mean, the shit we do isn't, I mean, it's not easy, and it's
not what it's built for.
Yeah, you're really lugging it, and, you know, you can actually hear when the clutch goes on and off on the sport shift models, and like when we were videoing, you can listen for it in the videos as well. Like a good example is on, shoot, what's that trail? True Grit. True Grit was one of them. So you could see him, he'd come up and you could hear it clunk, and that was obviously just a clutch engaging or whatever, it's magic's happening in there. And you'll hear it clunk, but then once he starts moving, just fuzz, you don't hear it anymore. Yeah. And he literally has like power like us. I mean, going up you know, crawling up something and then like wooding it to get up it or whatever, you know, like a ledge or something, and it'll just blow the tires off.
Yeah, there was
and
no,
it's super impressive.
There was no spots where it needed more like low end torque.
No.
You know, compared to ours, like sure,
Yeah.
maybe there's some spots where, you know, other machines would be better, but we're just trying to compare it to 70-30 gear reduction machines on 30s. You know, I don't know that we really, you know, for those of you that might be new to the channel, you know, finding or trying to look out more for a 19, you know, that's what we have 3 70-30 gear reduction machines, pipe tune, you know, 30-inch tires, and that's what we're comparing it to. And both like standard full manual, or all 3 machines are standard full manual. So, you know, can't really compare to the Sport Shift personally, but it seemed to do really well.
Yeah, I would agree. It was extremely impressive for, you know, 100% stock machine. And not saying that ours are obviously a little more built up and stuff, and they're still really impressive, but for just, they figured it out with gearing. And like, we don't know what the top speed and stuff is like, because that's one thing that we not really a fan of with the 70-30 is you lose, you know, like I can't go do 100 miles an hour like I used to. I don't know if the 19 can or not. I'm sure it's better than ours.
Yeah.
So it's more of a well-rounded machine for sure. And I mean, other things on top of it, we have a radiator in the front. He's had overheating issues. I've had overheating issues. I've seen 260. That's as high as the gauge will go. So, I mean, who knows what it was. It's been there a couple times. It likes it. But his radiator in the back, I mean, you can look at it. Thing's got 700 miles on it, and it looks brand new. It is. I mean, and he's never had an issue with anything. And it's, you know, it's been really. I mean, they really thought of a lot of cool things to do to make it better, and I think it's better.
Yeah, they really nailed it on the radiator in the back, no doubt about that. My last 2 trips, I've been battling overheating issues, and in our experience, it's really come down to like whoever was leading didn't have the issues. So, you know, we'd go through a puddle or whatever, and then my stuff was wet, and then following the leader, the dust would just stick to it and it would turn into like concrete almost, you know. So like if I had the issues, he didn't, and if he had the issues, I didn't. So it was like whoever led, and the last 2 trips he led. But then back at Windrock, you know, I didn't have any issues with it. He was battling it, I was leading. So kind of maybe a coincidence, but I doubt it.
Yeah, there's something, yeah.
But he's been back of the pack, no issues at all, which, you know, that's to be expected. But just know if you're thinking maybe like buying a used 17 or 18, you know, the radiator relocates are expensive unless you kind of brew up your own.
Yeah, they're like $1,000. I mean, I would buy a 19 just for that in itself.
Yeah, and the prices have dropped a lot on the 19s
yeah, they
as well.
have. You know, you can go buy an 18 for, you know, maybe a couple grand less than a 19, and the 19 is totally worth it with the gear reduction and the radiator in the back's huge.
Especially with saying the factory gearing. So we see a lot of comments, or at least I see a lot of comments, you know, that the YXZ from the factory is not a woods machine. It is not a trail machine. This is, you know, what a lot of people want to find out, and that's why we're making this video on, is the 19 now, straight out of the box, like more of a woods machine? And personally, I would say it is. I mean, you know, what we're doing is extremely, extremely technical riding, and it's doing it. So like on your normal riding and normal Tennessee trails and normal trails like that, it will do really well. Like, yes, he has a heavy flywheel, but that's what, $100, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really easy to change yourself.
Yep,
so it's not hard. You don't lose much of anything else.
No, you don't even really notice it.
So you don't lose any kind of top end when you do it. So I mean, we'd highly recommend the heavy flywheel if you're gonna ride tighter trails, because it seems to do really well for him. And we're actually running those as well. I don't know that we mentioned that, but one other thing that I wanted to touch base on with this is more down to the SS versus the standard shift model, is we did run across actually his buddy from Tennessee who's running a 17 sport shift.
Yeah.
And when we climb like these big ledges and we don't make it, you know, we all push in the clutch and we'll roll down, free rolling down, which really helps us with breakage, you know. surprisingly enough, we haven't broke that many axles.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
Like the three of us, our main group, you know, me, Billy, and Josh. Josh broke a couple on the last trip out. One was kind of a fluke thing. It was his front axle that he broke. We actually didn't get it on film because it really, he was like front of the pack, so we missed it. But, you know, just bumped the obstacle kind of hard and it broke, so we were kind of surprised with that. But then his rear that he broke, I mean, that was, in my opinion, like a well-deserved broken axle. Like he hit the obstacle really hard and it bound really hard down onto that side. And it broke, you know, it's going to happen. But
He
back
broke
to...
one more, too, at the Badlands.
Yeah, at the Badlands. That was kind of
broke.
a fluke one as well. I mean, you did the exact same obstacle and didn't break.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we don't know.
yeah, and both rigs reacted the same. But anyways, back to the point, I kind of got off track there with the sport shift versus the standard is when, you know, me, him, and Billy all went up the same obstacle, and probably a few attempts. I know personally that I had a couple attempts at that obstacle, and every time I wouldn't make it, I'd push in the clutch and roll back, you know, and it wouldn't just be trying to spin the tire forward as I'm going backward, and that's when it broke. The sport shift, not the 19 that we're talking about. You know, he made it up the obstacle fine, but it was a 17 sport shift with 70-30 gear reduction and 30s, and he broke a rear axle coming down on that obstacle.
Same ledge from the top. Oh God, that broke. That had to have broke. That's mine looked like that.
You can't push on the clutch pedal.
Yeah, he doesn't have a clutch. So I'm pushing in the clutch. What do you mean?
It's rear axle shift.
I mean, we have a clutch. It's literally just nothing, you know.
Yeah,
It
so we just
stops.
free roll back down.
Yeah.
So if you know, and I understand that a lot of people probably aren't doing what we're doing with a YXZ, but in the off chance that one of you may do that, you know, it might be something to consider, because I know he's thinking about changing machines for that fact alone.
Yeah.
So
Just to keep
just something
breaking.
to kind of give out as some info that we're trying to do from what we've learned about the YXZs in general. A couple other, you know, main differences from the older models. Mine's a 16, so mine's the first gen of the YXZ, and a few things that I didn't like about it and had issues with was, one, the rear CV guards. I was blowing boots on those. So back to the fact of, you know, if you're looking to get in the market of a YXZ, you know, the 16s don't have those. I know it's not a big deal, but I blew 2-3 boots, I think,
Yeah.
without those. I've now got the Weller ones and haven't had an issue since. But, you know, the 17, 18, and 19 all have those. So any of those machines would be good, you know, in our experience. One other thing was the 16 didn't have a temp gauge from the factory, which is just stupid, in my opinion. Once again, that's not a 19 only thing, but just like 19 versus 16, I guess, in this part of the video. And then one other, you know, pretty major difference between the older three models, 16, 17, and 18, is the rods that comes in its stock.
Yeah, so the rods are ready for boost stock. I'm 90% sure they're just the Yamaha Nitro rods out of the snowmobile. So they're still a Yamaha OEM part, but supposedly they're rated for like 300 horse. I could be wrong, but I mean ours are like toothpicks in our rigs, the older models. So, you know, if anybody's looking to get into one of them just to, you know, instantly boost it, you don't really have to do much of anything.
Yeah, radiators in the back. Supposedly it's got good rods. Just wanted to mention it. You know, you probably know that watching the video, but for anybody who didn't, you know, it's a pretty major thing, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, they really did their homework, and it's, I mean, our personal or our opinion on the machine, it's really good. I mean, they fixed what. I mean, I had to do gear reduction in mine. He had to do gear reduction in his. Josh did it in his.
Yeah.
And now, you know, I don't think I would have to do it again. You know, running 30-inch tires or, You know, the stock 29s even did really well. We had no blowouts. We were at Smorr. It was just like jagged rocks everywhere and no blowout. We had a couple other tire casualties that we won't talk about, but
that wasn't us though.
No, it wasn't us, but you know, a really good name brand, and they were stickies, and they had, I think, I mean, they had a lot of holes in them after that trip. So.
Yeah, that was one thing we did want to touch base on, and those were the stock 29 Bighorns.
Yep.
And we can't say that he's never had a plug or a blowout or anything, but the 2 trips that we were on with him, were 2 big rowdy parks, and he didn't have any issues.
No,
and he didn't also, that's a 29. We're running 30s. I don't know that it's really worth upgrading to a 30 when he didn't have any issues like hanging up on stuff that we cleared over anything major to where like he was stuck on it or stuck in the ruts or so that was just what we ran into. And we had a solid like 12-hour day of riding with him in Tennessee, and then in Smorr we had 3 days with him, I think.
Yeah, 3
days. Solid days of riding. And this is basically what we've gathered from information on it, from next to having one. I feel like we've learned pretty much about it and how they do it.
Yeah, we know. Because, I mean, most of the machine is the same. I mean, a lot of the stuff anyways, but they just fixed the key components that people wished it had when they bought a 16, 17, or 18, kind of like the things that we have done to our machines, this one already has.
Yeah.
And then even a little more. I mean, I can't really, the cage is supposedly beefed up, but I mean, I wouldn't trust it.
It definitely looks better in my opinion.
Yeah, it does look better.
So at least it's got that going for it.
Yeah, but I mean, mine folded like a taco when I just rolled, I just flopped, so.
Yeah, it's stock one.
But now we all have cages. So, I mean, that's something, if you're going to ride like us, it's a must.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an absolute must. But at least they did something with the cheesy one that they had.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just the little.
But all brands,
Yeah, all brands, yeah,
seems to be that way, But we'll replace them all on whatever brand we end up with, just because we want that peace of mind.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sure some could take some kind of role, or whatever. It depends on what you're doing with it. For what we do, we need a good cage, because you never know when you're gonna fly off a cliff or something. I don't know.
Or get that unlucky bounce.
Yeah, we've all been there.
You on the last trip. Not much of an unlucky bounce. We kind of knew that one was.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's why you buy a cage. You know what? Roll it back onto its wheel, start it up, kept the wheel in the whole trip.
Actually,
it had a blowing front diff, but.
Speaking of rolling it back and over and starting it up, on our last trip at Smorr, the 19, he actually flopped on his side. It's a really small, graceful roll, so can't really compare the cage to anything.
Yeah.
But when we rolled it back over, it actually didn't start. It was just turning over, just kept turning over. And, Billy's rolled. I've been laid on my side multiple times, and we've never had a problem. They just pop right back over. Maybe this goes back to some kind of computer change, an SS maybe even?
We are not 100% sure.
Yeah, we don't know what it was or what the change was, but he had to disconnect his positive cable off the battery and, put it back on, and then it fired right back up. So it just like reset the computer or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it had no issues after that. But just one notice to maybe take note of if you ever roll or flop on its side. Other than that, I think we pretty much touched everything we can on the 19th. So if you guys enjoyed the video or learned something from the video maybe, or maybe you want to teach us something about the video, let us know. Yeah,
we're really awkward, so this is like the first casting session. So
yeah, we don't do many videos like this, but just see a lot of posts on all the pages.
Yeah, trying to learn something about something,
Yeah, so just wanted to put in our 2 cents. Might not all be right, but it's what it's our opinion on all of it. So yeah, if you guys liked it, stay tuned for more and subscribe for more content like this. We might do some more videos like this in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, check out some of our other videos. They're not like this. They're usually full
Yeah.
send.
Yeah, they're probably better.
Yeah, I'm sure it's better than this one. But all right, guys, take it easy.